destroyed dozens of homes and structures. This isn't the only tornado to bring significant damage to this area. Tornadoes also tore through the cities of Blue and Medill in recent years.
TVS forming right now.
Tornado warnings keep us safe. They tell us when to take cover, but in southern Oklahoma, actually
I think we're running just a little bit late. Before I hit the gavel and call the meeting to order, I'd like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. With that, the meeting of the December 13th City Council is now in session and is called to order. And we're very honored tonight to have our police chaplain, Mr. Brent Smith, here with us to give us our invocation. Would everyone please stand?
Father, we consider it an honor tonight to be able to meet together or to conduct the business that you've placed in front of us, or the city council, all of these fine representatives, Lord, that you've allowed to come into leadership, Lord, for your purpose and your plan for the city of Durant. Lord, we consider it an honor to serve. And Lord, we're reminded as we look forward to the celebration of the birthday of our Lord and Savior, that Lord, you sent your Son who led us to serve. So Lord, may, as leaders of the city, Lord, as council members, mayor and judge, city manager, Lord, may we continue to be reminded that the highest calling is to serve. And Lord, may you guide and direct and lead and bring divine wisdom into each and every heart, their thoughts, Lord, and direct what's best that you would know for the city of Durant. And Lord, we thank you again for allowing us the opportunity to serve. Pray these things in Jesus' name. And everybody said? Amen.
Amen. Remain standing. Mike, would you please lead the flag salute? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. We have a holiday presentation this evening. We're very honored to have soloist Trista, and I got it right, Becca, Davison, and she is a senior at Southeastern. I think you're majoring in theater.
Musical theater and a minor in dance.
Okay, and most important of all, she is Miss Becca Payne's granddaughter. roll.
Councilmember Brittingham.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Councilmember Morris.
Here.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Here.
Mayor Groby.
Here, we are all here tonight. The next item on our agenda is under citizen comments. I do have one person who filled out a request to speak. Would you please come forward? Not that I don't know you. You have 3 minutes. You got the timer set. 3 minutes. Oh, 3 minutes. And if you'll go ahead and give us your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mayor. And Council, I appreciate you hearing my comments today. I think I know every one of you. My name is Mike Davis. I live at 3609 Heritage Drive here in Durant. And I'm rising to speak today about the construction project on University that we are all very intimately familiar with. I see that you have an agenda item today, which is the last agenda item in regard to that, in order to make a decision about a potential contract with the present construction company involved in that construction. I also noticed that there does not seem to be a link to the actual contract in the documents associated with that agenda item available for the public. And so I encourage the council today, when you reach that agenda item on the agenda, to enlighten us as to its terms. As it stands right now, it does not seem that we know the amount of money associated with that contract, the benchmarks, what the dates of those benchmarks are, what the content or expectations of those benchmarks would be. And as somebody affected by this construction project, as many of us are, I drive in and around the construction project site every day, going to work, and every day coming home from work. I feel that to some extent, if there is discussion or conversation among the council about the content of the contract, that you can use that as an opportunity to enlighten us about what's in it, especially if the final vote is going to be an approval of that contract, which I may very well support. I just want to know what's in it, right? So I appreciate you hearing my remarks today, and thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, order of business as we move right along. Number 1 is consent items. We have A through F, and if anyone wants to pull any item out and vote on it separate, they can do so at this time. I think we may need to pull item A out to approve for the minutes. So item A needs to be taken out. No? Okay. Oh, not unless anybody has anything to say about it then. Okay. All right. Anyone have anything they want pulled out of any of them? Speak now. If not, we're going to move right along. Okay, 2, consider items.
I make a motion we approve all consent items.
I'm going a little too fast. I'm in the Christmas spirit now. I want to go home and get some eggnog. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Brittingham. Aye. Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 2, we'll skip. Item 3, information items. Does anyone have anything under information item that they would like to pull out for discussion? We don't have to approve those. We'll just move on. Okay, if not, we'll move on to number 4, administration. Number A, consider approval of ordinance O-2022-25, declaring ward boundaries and declaring an emergency. Discussion. You want to explain? Okay.
At a previous council meeting, we approved for the resolution regarding the ward boundaries to be published in the newspaper. Had to be published for 30 days, and that was done. And there was no response received to that. There is, just for the audience to know, there is a copy of the ward boundary map on the table out there. And for council, there's one behind the mayor's chair if they want to look at. And so this would just make it official of the ward boundaries. We're accepting those, and so that we can move forward with that, and that'll kind of tie into the next item.
I might add that what was done, it was trying to balance the wards out.
Yes, and it was as a result of the 2020 census, and so that each of the wards are equally populated, so.
Any discussion?
I have a question. If these boundaries are approved, will they be the ones used for upcoming council election and residency determinations, or will the old ones be used?
It will be this one.
It'll go into effect immediately. Any other questions? Call for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance O 2022-25, declaring ward boundaries and declaring an emergency. Section 1.
Okay, we have a motion for section 1. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. Second part is motion to declare an emergency. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to declare emergency.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. 4B, consider approval of resolution number 2022-19, calling for nonpartisan general election of council member for Ward 3, Ward 4, and at large in the city of Durant, Oklahoma.
And this does begin the process for the upcoming municipal election. And that is why when we just approved the boundary map for the wards, that will be presented to the election board this week. That's the first step in starting this process. And then also we will, I will provide them with a resolution. It just states that that is our intent for the April election, and makes the election board be put on notice.
Any discussion? Call for a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to approve resolution number 2022-19, calling for a nonpartisan general election of council member for Ward 3, Ward 4, and at large in the city of Durant, Oklahoma.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 4C, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the purchase of a salt spreader from Southwest Trailer and Equipment for the purchase price of $6,964.96. Philip, is that you?
Yes, ma'am. This is a chipper or a salt spreader that would put back in our new 1-ton that has a snowplow on it. We already have one with a snowplow and chipper in back, and this will be a second one. It's a good asset because we can run the tighter streets with this instead of using chippers that we put in the dump trucks. It'll run in front of trash trucks and keep them from sliding off the road, hopefully. So.
Anyone have any questions for Philip? Any discussion? Call for a motion.
I move we approve the purchase of a salt spreader from Southwest Trailer and Equipment for the purchase price of $6,964.96.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Brittingham. Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Philip. Item 4D, discussion, consideration, and possible action on a replat request for property near Inglewood Drive and Epler Drive. Hi, Ms. Danielle.
Good evening.
And-
I'm going to introduce Carrie real quick. She's our the new admin assistant for community development.
How are you?
And she's
Good.
going to give the staff report this evening. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
Okay.
Hello. Okay, so this is a request for a replat to divide one lot into two lots. The primary purpose is to build their primary residence and possibly an accessory structure. There does appear to be city sewer in the area. This area is served by Rural Water District 2. No calls, letters, or emails have been received by staff. The Planning Commission and city staff recommend approval of this item since the plat does meet the necessary requirements. And we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Did you say it's already on city sewer?
Sewer, yes.
Any questions by anyone? Discussion? Call for a motion? Call for a motion. One more time.
You're gonna force me to talk, aren't you? Make a motion to approve the replat request for property near Inglewood Drive and Epler Drive.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 4E, mobile license plate reader, trailer unit C-2022-65. 1, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve purchase of a mobile license plate reader trailer from Vigilant Solutions LLC for the Durant Police Department, utilizing awarded grant funds by the 2023 Oklahoma Attorney General Safe Oklahoma Program C-2022-65 in the amount of $25,000 and committed match funds for the trailer equipment, software delivery, installation, training, and license fees. Ms. Becca.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. In September, the council accepted the grant from 2023 Safe Oklahoma, funded by the Oklahoma Attorney General's Office, and they have selected to purchase the license plate reader trailer. And we are committing, with Ann Chen's assistance, the $19,880 towards the total purchase price of the $44,880.
Okay, so.
Any questions? What I do need to suggest, if you approve, is that per Tom, the contract is made out to the police department, and so contingent upon me making that change, I would ask for your approval for the project.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Becca? Any discussion? Call for the vote. Motion, excuse me.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the mobile license plate reader trailer from Vigilant Solutions LLC for the Durant Police Department, utilizing awarded grant funds by the 2023 OK Attorney General Safe OK Program C-2022-65 in the amount of $25,000 and committed match funds for the trailer equipment, software delivery, installation, training, and license fee.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear,
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye, motion carries. Number 4, let's see, number 4E2, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve Vigilant Solutions LLC Enterprise Service Agreement C-2022-65 SA related to the mobile license plate reader trailer funded by 2023 Safe Oklahoma Grant C-2022-65.
And this is actually the one that needs the contingency put in your motion, that contingent upon changing the contract.
Okay, any discussion? Right, Tom?
And the change to that contract is just that the contract needs to be with the city of Durant, and in the draft it says the Durant Police Department, the entity is the city of Durant, so that's the only change.
Call for the motion.
I move we approve Vigilant Solutions LLC Enterprise Service Agreement C-2022-65 SA related to the mobile license plate reader trailer funded by 2023 Safe OK Grant C-2022-65 with the amendment that the recipient is the city of Durant and not the police department.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear,
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye, motion carries. Number F, license plate reader equipment for patrol vehicle units, C-2022-66. Item 1, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve purchase of license plate reader patrol vehicle unit equipment from Vigilant Solutions, LLC, for the Durant Police Department utilizing awarded grant funds by the Northern and Middle States Rural Law Enforcement Training and Technical Assistance Program through the Bureau of Justice Assistance, BJA, Office of Justice Programs, U.S. Department of Justice, in supported by the National White Collar Crime Center, NW3C, subaward contract number 72-115, related to BJA grant number 2020-MU-BX-K001 C-2022-66 in the amount of $33,630 for equipment, software delivery, installation, training, and license fees. Wish we could have done that in shorthand.
I know, it was a lot, isn't it? My eyes were crossed just trying to make sure all that was correct. Well, the police department has been doubly blessed to get another grant for a different type of license plate reader. These are mobile units that will go inside 4 vehicles, and it is a federal grant, whereas the other one that you approved is through the state of Oklahoma.
Okay.
Just want to mention that. And it's the same thing. Well, you actually accepted this grant in November of the $33,630, and it does not require a match.
Great.
Okay?
Okay, any discussion? Do we have a motion? Tom, does somebody need to read that whole thing?
No, if somebody wants to reference 4F1 in the contract, that's sufficient.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move, go ahead.
Age before beauty, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I move we approve item F1 as stated.
We have a are you through?
Yeah.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear,
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 2, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve Enterprise Service Agreement C-2022-66 SA related to the license plate reader equipment funded by 2020-MU-BX-K001 C-2022-66.
I did shorten that one for you.
Thank you very much.
And so this one as well needs to be contingent upon making the city the contract change to that.
Discussion, motion?
I move we approve item F2 as stated with the change that the recipient be the city of Durant and not the police department.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Becca.
Officer Clark, this thing doesn't work on motorcycles, does it?
Unfortunately, it does.
Uh-oh.
Can you exempt plates off of it?
Okay, item number G, update, discussion, and possible action regarding University Boulevard from West Side Drive to Gates Avenue construction project. Possible actions may include approval of contract terms with Shirley Construction Company Corporation, proposed amended contract terms, or authorization for staff to prepare to rebid project.
So Mayor, I'll go ahead and start by way of the agenda item authorizes several different things by way of update, discussion, and or possible action. I'm going to give the council basically an update on what's kind of going on at this point. First thing I want to do is address Mr. Davis's comments. I agree with him in that, you know, as much information as possible would help the public. The contract has been put out to the public. In the last meeting on November 28th, the council adopted or voted to, contingent upon Shirley Construction's approval, adopted to rescind the contract cancellation and initiate a change order to the existing contract. And that change order was presented at that November 28th meeting with those amended terms. So that's the document that we're working with right now. There's not a new document for tonight. By way of update, the change order that the council approved on November 28th has been transmitted to Shirley. There's been a considerable amount of discussion back and forth with Shirley, some of their subcontractors. There's been some developments that have both slowed the process and maybe eventually will accelerate the process. The project manager that was on the project for Shirley as of very recently is no longer with Shirley Construction. So the recent contact has been through council, but with the owner of Shirley Construction. He has expressed considerable interest in finishing this project, has sought a meeting, and there is a tentative planned meeting for this week with the owner of Shirley Construction and city staff, as well as legal counsel. So that's the update. There's not been an approval by Shirley Construction of the proposed change order, but there's also not been a rejection of it. There's been some developments within the company that I think will be positive or has the potential to be positive in getting the project moving. And my advice to the council by way of update is to let this meeting happen later in the week with staff and Shirley Construction and see what comes of it. I'm hopeful that it will be positive, and maybe we can move forward with them. That's, as it has been all along, that's potentially the quickest route to get this problem and this project completed. As discussed on November 28th, if we have to go out for rebid, which was what we'll have to do if Shirley Construction, if there's not an agreement with Shirley Construction to move forward, that's a lengthy project to get re-engineered, rebid, and the successful bidder mobilized. So that's the update on where we are right now. Certainly entertain any questions, or Lisa can add additional information, but that's where we're at right now.
Any comments?
when was this meeting between the city and Sirali? On what date was that finalized that would happen?
The proposed meeting is for Friday, this coming Friday.
What day was it discussed that there would be a meeting between the city and Sirali?
Today.
And the meeting will be here.
Yes.
Any discussion? So what we need to vote on is to,
There's no vote right now. That's just an update. If there is something that, I mean, the council can certainly discuss it. The council can do something. What I was hoping is by tonight, there would be an acceptance of the change order that the council's already approved, or at the very least, a response that was some sort of counter. But what we've got is information that there's been some changes within Sirali construction that I think the folks on the ground would maybe agree is a positive change for everyone. I'm hopeful that's the case.
does anybody want to say anything? The only thing I would say is if these people don't show up Friday and do what they said, I think we ought to show them the door. I mean, that's my personal feeling. I'm one of 5, so the rest of you can feel like you want, but, you know, they've kind of not kept their word on a lot of things up till now, so if they don't show good faith and show up for the meeting, I think that ought to be the end of them.
Are you saying it's going to be this Friday, the 16th?
Yes.
Okay.
And if I understand correctly, Tom, you said if they accept our the change order, then we don't have to come back for another special meeting.
That's correct. The proposed change order was out there. That would involve a rescission of the termination of the contract, and if they accept that change order, that proposed change order, then that sets the original contract back in place with those changes that are in it. Now, if there is a counter proposal or something like that, it would need to then be approved by the council again. But if they accept the change order as is, then that's an acceptance of the contract terms, and we move forward.
Thank you. Anyone have anything to say before we move on? Lisa?
Tom keeps stealing my thunder.
You can have this thunder.
Every time I turn my mic on, you took the words out of my mouth.
Anyone have anything they want to say? I said my piece. Anyone have anything they want to say? Okay. I guess then we just move right on to new business, which we have none, and we need a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Brittingham.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shear.
Aye.
Mayor Groby.
Aye. We are now dismissed from the city council meeting, and it is 6:43.
Let me have just one moment, please.
I'm sorry, Cindy.
That's okay.
I'm learning to get patient. Okay, it is 6:43, and the Durant City Utilities Authority is now in session. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brittingham.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Morris.
Here.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Here.
Chairman Groby.
Here. Under our order of business, we have one consent item. A, consider approval of regular meeting minutes of November 8, 2022. We have a motion.
A motion to approve consent items.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the
Trustee
vote?
Brittingham.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Morris.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Aye.
Chairman Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is information items. If anyone has any questions, they may ask them at this time. Number 4, administration, which there is nothing. Number 5, new business, which there is no new business. Motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please record the vote?
Trustee Brittingham.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Morris.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Aye.
Chairman Groby.
Aye. We are now out of session for the Durant Utility Authority. Cindy, you want me to wait a minute? Okay, it is 6:45 and the Durant Airport Authority is now in session. With the secretary, please call the roll.
Trustee Brittingham.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Morris.
Here.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Here.
Chairman Groby.
Here. We are all here under consent items. Number 8, consider approval of regular meeting minutes of November 8, 2022. And there's a second one if anyone wants to discuss it. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting?
I'll motion to approve consent items.
Okay. We have a motion to approve consent items. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Trustee Brittingham. I'm sorry.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Morris.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Aye.
Chairman Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. Information item, Airport Director's Monthly Report. Would you like Mr. Josh to give us a
Y'all need
Reader's
me to
Digest
report on
version?
anything? So November was both a slow and busy month for us out at the airport with this new hangar build that we're currently in the process of going on. Our old Jet A truck was down for pretty much the whole month. We've been working with Basco on getting about 4 to 6 new seals put on around the piping underneath the truck. We experienced some significant leaks from under there. That's finally up and running as of yesterday, so we're just getting the hoses changed out on that. On November 4th, we experienced another lightning strike on our equipment out there at the airport. This lightning strike struck our automated weather observation system out there, which we've had cascading effects on the electrical systems from that. We do have a insurance claim in with them. We are currently working that issue. Due to that, we did lose a lot of our Part 135 operations. That's what our charters and our corporate jet traffic operate on. We also lost some of our Martin Air traffic as well. They had to relocate down to North Texas Regional on some of those stormy days as they were not able to get in. And that weather did play a little bit of havoc with our airport as well. That slowed a lot of our traffic coming in and out down. On the 31st of November as well, we had a college aircraft out there that experienced a blown tire on the runway. This occurred around 7 p.m., 1900 hours. And myself, we had the fire department respond out there with one of their trucks as well. I responded out there and a NOTAM was issued. We had to close down the runway for the duration of this recovery of the aircraft, and at that time we actually had one of our based jets in the traffic pattern circling. So they were circling for roughly about probably 30 minutes or so of the airspace until we got the aircraft tire changed on it and pulled off the airfield. Normally in this type of event, what we would do is we would mobilize our recovery assets to pull the aircraft off versus trying to do a tire change on the airfield. So that was a learning scenario for the college on that one. Next item is our 2 HVAC units on top of the main part of the terminal have experienced. The heat exchangers on them have pretty much, in other words, blown up. We've got cracks all along them, so we had to go out and get a replacement quote for our two main 7.5-ton HVAC units, which we finally did receive. We are moving forward with getting those finally replaced. This is a continuing issue from last winter. We had pretty much the same issues on these units last winter. As far as the fuel goes, our rental aircraft have continued to climb out there. We were seeing a lot more use on rental aircraft, as you can see by the numbers. Our fuel 400 low lead has actually increased over 2021 by 318 gallons. Our Jet A did drop by 2,786 gallons versus what we sold in 2021, and our self-serve dropped by about 984, almost 985 gallons. Big part of that reason too is because of our rental aircraft increase. They're preferring to utilize the full serve versus self-serve, because with this we also offer, window cleaning and stuff like that, and it gives the pilots and instructors more time to interact with each other while they get set up for their flights. I'm happy to advise though that just last week we've almost more than made up for that drop in Jet A, because last week we sold almost 9,500 gallons of Jet A in just that week alone. So we have seen an increase in our traffic now that we've got our AWAS limping along. So with all that information, I'll stand by for any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Josh?
Operation since April 12th.
Yes, ma'am. I figured you were going to ask, but it slipped. So today we had just this afternoon, 86 total operations at the airport. That's landing and takeoffs. Yesterday we only had 6. For the month so far, we are at 1,064 operations out of the airport. For the year, starting about mid-April, we're at 33,962 total operations for our airport for the year thus far. Also, another item I'd like to note is for this year of 2022, starting January 1st, we have so far flowed 215,646 gallons of Jet A at the airport. Last year, for the entire year 2021, I think we just barely tipped 200,000 gallons. We've also moved about 54,000 gallons of 100 low lead, and that's about 10,000 more than we did for 2021 thus far. And actually, we just received another load of Jet A this morning, and probably by the end of the week, we'll have to order another load of Jet A. So we are starting to move more Jet A again.
Sounds great. Any questions or comments?
My comment is keep up the good work, Josh. I go out there a lot, and it really looks good.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So.
Okay.
Thank you
so
all.
much,
Appreciate
Josh.
it.
Okay. We have nothing under item 4, administration, nothing under 5, new business. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Make the motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Would the secretary please record the vote?
Trustee Brittingham.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Morris.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Shear.
Aye.
Chairman Groby.
Aye. Motion carries. I got to hit this tonight. We're now adjourned. Thank you all so much for coming, and I hope all of you have a very wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year.